You using the autopilot or are you flying the airplane?
Me and the good Lord's hand flying this 900 out of whiskey.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Imagine you're traveling with your family in a plane, and then suddenly the pilot dies, and now you have to steer the plane. So what will you do now? Well, that's exactly what happened to Doug White. Doug White and his family were returning from Florida after attending his brother's funeral. They chartered a flight to Louisiana. During the climb, Doug noticed the pilot was unconscious. He radioed Miami Center for help, stating the emergency. Doug had some flying experience with a single-engine Cessna many years ago, but was new to the King airplane. The air traffic controller initially thought Doug was the co-pilot, but Doug clarified he was a low-time single-engine pilot. The autopilot was set to climb without a set altitude, causing the plane to keep climbing. Doug struggled to level off the aircraft as he lacked experience with the autopilot. The controller tried to assist, but the situation remained tense as the plane continued climbing uncontrollably. Doug attempted to adjust the altitude settings to stop the climb, but the confusion persisted. The controller tried to confirm if Doug managed to level off the plane, but the autopilot still showed the wrong altitude. As Doug continued to climb uncontrollably past 10,000 feet, frustration set in. Desperate for assistance, Doug emphasized the urgency to the air traffic controller. Despite the tension, the controller reassured him and initiated steps to address the crisis. The pivotal moment arrived when the controller instructed Doug to disengage the autopilot and hand fly the plane. Doug, lacking recent flying experience and now at 17,000 feet, faced a daunting task. With guidance, Doug successfully disengaged the autopilot, taking full control. The controller, recognizing Doug's growing confidence, coordinated a descent plan to reach a safe altitude of 11,000 feet. Doug's sense of humor surfaced amid the crisis, lightening the situation. The controller, appreciating Doug's efforts, informed him of the plan to hand him off to controllers with pilot experience at Fort Myers for a safe landing. Reassured and gradually gaining control, Doug descended while maintaining his heading. The controller's calming words provided support, and the news of clear weather at Fort Myers eased the landing prospects. But that's not the whole story. Later in the video, you'll find out about how Doug manages to land the plane safely. So make sure to hit that subscribe button below and stay tuned until the end. As Doug continued his descent under the guidance of the Fort Myers approach, the controller laid out the plan for a safe landing. They assured him that they would direct him to the longest runway and provided encouragement. They discussed tuning into the correct frequency, highlighting the importance of focusing on flying before adjusting the radio. Doug successfully communicated with the Fort Myers approach, and the controller advised him to initiate a descent to 5,000 feet. Acknowledging Doug's unfamiliarity with the aircraft's controls, the controller guided him through setting the autopilot for a safe descent. As they discussed tuning the radio and autopilot settings, Doug faced challenges with the heading bug and airspeed control. The controller offered assistance, emphasizing the importance of maintaining altitude and airspeed. Doug's increasing familiarity with the controls and the controller's patient guidance formed the narrative's evolving dynamic. As Doug navigated through setting the autopilot, managing airspeed, and preparing for the landing checklists, the controller provided clear instructions, creating a collaborative atmosphere. The evolving interaction showcased Doug's determination and the controller's adept support in this challenging airborne crisis. In the final part of this harrowing flight, the controller provided Doug with specific instructions for his approach to runway 6 at Fort Myers. Doug, still about 25 miles out, received guidance on lowering the gear and flaps when the airspeed reached 160 knots. As Doug executed the instructions, the controller ensured a smooth transition, acknowledging Doug's efforts to maintain control. With clear communication, Doug initiated his final approach, adjusting speed and altitude under the controller's guidance. The controller assured him of the available runway, minimal wind, and support equipment on standby. Doug, displaying composure, received guidance on power management and landing procedure. The controller provided continuous updates, and Doug successfully executed the landing. At the end, make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Meanwhile, thanks for watching.